Many people ask, what is the meaning of life? Some seek it in achievements, some in possessions, some in the recognition of others. But let us pause for a moment and observe. Life itself is not something external that you must chase. It is already here, already flowing, already breathing through you. The question is not about finding meaning as if it were hidden in the world. The question is about creating meaning through the way you live. When the sun rises in the morning, it does not ask why. It simply shines. When the flower blossoms in spring, it does not demand purpose. It simply opens. In the same way, your life does not wait for an answer. It waits for your participation. Meaning is not given. Meaning is made. And you make it with every step you take, with every thought you nurture, and with every action you perform. If you seek meaning, look at the way you live your days. The meaning of life is not found in distant futures, but in the small and silent moments of today. It is found in your discipline, in your kindness, in your service, and in your awareness. When people begin to question the meaning of life, very often they look outward. They believe that somewhere in the mountains, within the words of a sacred book, or hidden in the wisdom of a teacher, lies the final answer that will unlock their existence. This way of thinking assumes that life's meaning is an object, an external thing that one must travel far and wide to discover. But such a perspective leads to frustration, because no matter how far you travel, the horizon will always remain ahead of you. The moment you think you have reached it, it moves further. The meaning of life is not waiting to be found like a stone buried in the earth. Rather, it is being written by you, moment by moment. Every breath you take, every choice you make, is already shaping the story of your existence. If you understand this, you realize that the responsibility for your life does not lie in what you uncover, but in what you create. To create meaning requires presence and awareness. Imagine a painter standing before an empty canvas. The canvas itself holds no inherent meaning. It is blank, neutral, without form. Only when the painter picks up the brush and begins to move does something arise. In the same way, life offers you the canvas of existence. But it is your thoughts, words, and actions that bring color and form. If you wait for the canvas to tell you what to paint, you will remain staring at emptiness forever. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect career, waiting for recognition, waiting for happiness to arrive, believing that meaning will reveal itself when certain conditions are fulfilled. But the truth is, the act of living itself, the deliberate choice to give attention and energy to your daily moments, is what creates significance. Meaning is not a prize at the end of the path. It is the steps you take on the path itself. And yet, this understanding carries with it a quiet weight. Because if life's meaning is created, then you cannot blame the world for your emptiness. You cannot accuse life of being purposeless while refusing to create purpose through your own engagement. This is why many people shy away from this realization. It is easier to search for meaning as if it is hidden somewhere else than to accept that it must be crafted with your own hands. Creating meaning requires discipline, courage, and clarity. Discipline, because without direction the mind drifts into distraction. Courage, because creating meaning often means stepping outside the comfort of routine. Clarity, because without awareness you may build a life full of noise and yet empty of depth. Just as a craftsman works with patience and precision to shape raw wood into a vessel, you too must work with your own life material, your habits, your thoughts, your relationships, to shape something worthwhile. Ultimately, to create meaning is to participate fully in existence. It is to recognize that life is not something happening to you, but something happening through you. The breath entering your lungs, the words leaving your mouth, the energy flowing through your body, these are not accidents, they are invitations. Invitations to act consciously, to speak truthfully, to move with intention. Each moment asks, what will you make of me? And in your answer, the meaning of your life is shaped. If you act with compassion, your life will embody compassion. If you act with discipline, your life will embody strength. If you act with kindness, your life will embody light. Life's meaning is not hidden in the stars, nor written in distant scriptures. It is written in your choices, here and now. And with every choice, you are the author. In our search for meaning, the mind tends to complicate what is in fact simple. We create endless questions. What is my purpose? What should I become? Where will happiness be found? These questions seem profound, but often they are born from restlessness, not clarity. Life itself does not ask these questions. The tree does not wonder whether its purpose is to provide shade or to bear fruit. The river does not ask whether it flows too quickly or too slowly. Nature simply lives according to its rhythm, and in this rhythm lies its truth. When you look at a sunrise, you are not searching for its meaning, you simply experience its light, and in that experience meaning arises naturally. In the same way, when you live simply without the constant burden of questioning and comparison, truth begins to reveal itself in the flow of your everyday existence. Yet simplicity is not easy, because the human mind has a tendency to complicate. It attaches conditions to everything. I will feel complete only if I achieve this. I will be worthy only if others recognize me. I will be happy only when the future provides what I desire. But life is not waiting for conditions. Life is already here, unfolding in each breath. To embrace simplicity is to strip away these unnecessary conditions and see what remains. What remains is pure existence, the reality that you are alive, breathing, moving, and this realization is far greater than any intellectual answer. When you recognize that the present moment holds everything, you stop chasing what is not here. In that stopping, simplicity is revealed, and with simplicity comes truth. To live with simplicity is also to live with freedom. Think of how much weight we carry, possessions we do not need, grudges we refuse to release, desires that multiply endlessly. All of this creates noise within the mind, and in the noise we lose sight of what is essential. The truth is never hidden, but it is often drowned beneath the chaos of unnecessary layers. When you simplify, you begin to hear again. You hear the sound of your breath, the stillness in a room, the quiet joy of a simple smile. These are not trivial things. They are the foundations of a meaningful life. If you overlook them, you may achieve much in the world, yet still feel hollow. But if you honor them, even the most ordinary day becomes extraordinary. Simplicity, therefore, is not the absence of richness, but the presence of clarity. Finally, simplicity is a practice of returning. Life will always pull you outward into ambition, into distraction, into the endless search for more. But the practice of simplicity pulls you back, again and again, to what is essential. It is like a monk sweeping the same courtyard every morning. The task is simple, yet it brings order, clarity, and peace. In the same way, your daily life can become a practice of simplicity, eating with awareness, walking with attention, speaking with honesty. In these simple acts, truth is revealed, not as a grand revelation, but as a quiet presence that was always there. The more you simplify, the more life begins to show itself as it truly is. And when life is seen clearly, the question of meaning dissolves, because meaning is no longer something you seek, it is something you live. Many people believe that the meaning of life must be connected to something extraordinary. They wait for one grand event, one great achievement, one life-changing moment to define who they are and what their existence stands for. But this is a misunderstanding. The meaning of your life is not created by a single mountain you climb. It is built by the countless steps you take every day. Think of a sculptor. The final statue is not shaped in one stroke of the chisel, but through thousands of small, patient movements. Each movement may seem insignificant, yet together they create something timeless. In the same way, your life is being shaped not by what you hope to do one day, but by what you do today and then again tomorrow. Every act, no matter how small, carries within it the potential to build or to destroy meaning. It is in the simple actions that meaning reveals itself most clearly. When you wake in the morning and decide to rise with discipline rather than laziness, you shape a part of your life's meaning. When you choose to listen deeply instead of speaking hastily, you strengthen the meaning of connection and respect. When you take care of your body, your work, or your relationships with patience, you affirm that your life holds value. Many underestimate the power of such small acts because they are quiet and unrecognized. But imagine a garden. It does not flourish because of one great rainfall, but because of the consistent care, the watering, the sunlight, the daily attention given to it. So too your life becomes meaningful through the constancy of your actions, the seeds you plant, and the care you give each day. But here lies a challenge because daily actions are often repetitive and ordinary. The mind tends to dismiss them. The ego desires moments of glory. It wants recognition, applause, visible achievements. Yet the truth is that those rare moments of recognition are built on a foundation of countless unseen actions. The athlete who stands victorious has lived through years of quiet training. The artist who presents a masterpiece has endured endless hours of practice and failure. The monk who radiates peace has sat through thousands of silent meditations. Meaning is accumulated, not granted. It is hidden within those daily decisions when no one is watching, when no applause is given. Therefore, to understand life's meaning, you must shift your perspective from the extraordinary to the ordinary, from the dramatic to the consistent, for it is the consistent rhythm of your actions that determines the melody of your existence. And so the true practice is awareness. To perform daily actions without awareness reduces them to mechanical routine, empty of meaning, but to perform them with presence transforms them into sacred gestures. Washing the dishes, if done with awareness, becomes an act of care. Walking, if done with awareness, becomes meditation. Speaking kindly, even in the smallest interaction, becomes a moment of healing. In this way, meaning is not reserved for distant goals or exceptional achievements. It is woven into the fabric of your ordinary day. The more you bring awareness into your actions, the more you see that every moment is an opportunity to express discipline, compassion, and wisdom. And when you live in this way, your daily actions stop being trivial. They become the very foundation of the meaning you seek, revealing that life was never waiting to be explained, but only waiting to be lived with attention. Awareness is like a light. When it shines, everything becomes clear. When it is absent, even the brightest day feels like darkness. In life, we often move without awareness. We wake up and already the mind is restless, thinking of the past, planning for the future, distracted by countless desires and worries. We eat without tasting, walk without noticing, speak without listening. In such a state, even though life is full, we feel empty. The reason is simple. When awareness is missing, we are not truly present. And without presence, no matter what we achieve, it lacks depth. Awareness is the key that unlocks the richness of life, because it returns us to the here and now, to the only place where meaning can be experienced. To cultivate awareness means to take back control of the mind, which is easily pulled in many directions. The untrained mind jumps like a monkey from one branch to another. It never rests, it never sees clearly. But through awareness the mind learns to stay. It learns to observe. Imagine holding a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays unclear. But if you place it down and allow it to rest, slowly the mud settles and the water becomes transparent. The mind is the same. When it is constantly disturbed, you cannot see reality. But with awareness the disturbances settle and truth becomes visible. This clarity is not something mystical, it is very practical. With awareness you see yourself more honestly, your habits, your reactions, your strengths, your weaknesses. And only when you see clearly can you begin to live wisely. Awareness transforms the most ordinary actions into meaningful ones. Walking, when done without awareness, is just a movement from one place to another. But walking with awareness is meditation. It becomes a journey where every step is alive. Eating without awareness is simply consumption, but eating with awareness becomes gratitude. You taste, you receive, you honor the food. Even in speech, awareness changes everything. Without it, words are careless, often creating harm. With it, words become deliberate, healing, and true. This is why awareness is the key, because it does not require you to change your life into something extraordinary. It requires you only to be present with what is already here. Awareness does not add something new. It reveals the depth of what already exists. Life itself becomes richer, not because it has changed, but because you are finally awake enough to see it. And yet, awareness is not something to be achieved once and then kept forever. It is a practice, a discipline, a return. The world will always try to pull your attention away through noise, through distractions, through endless desires. The mind will always try to wander into the past or the future. Therefore, awareness is like training a muscle. It must be exercised again and again. Each time you notice that you are distracted, you return. Each time you recognize that you are lost in thought, you breathe and return. Slowly, this return becomes natural, like a river flowing back to the sea. With time, awareness becomes the ground upon which you stand, the key you hold at every moment. And when awareness is strong, life reveals itself with clarity, not as confusion, not as emptiness, but as a living reality filled with meaning, waiting to be seen. There is a kind of meaning that cannot be found when life is lived only for oneself, when the mind is focused only on my success, my happiness, my comfort. It creates a cage. Even if that cage is decorated with achievements and possessions, it remains a narrow place. True depth begins the moment you step beyond yourself and realize that your life is connected to others. Service to others is not about sacrifice in the sense of losing. It is about expanding, about breaking open the boundaries of the self so that your existence includes more than just your own concerns. When you help another human being, even in the smallest way, your life is no longer confined to your own story. It becomes part of a larger story. In that expansion, meaning arises naturally, without needing to be forced or questioned. Service does not always mean grand gestures. Many think of service as something heroic, saving lives, donating fortunes, dedicating one's life to charity. While such acts are noble, they are not the only way to serve. True service begins in the ordinary, offering your time, listening deeply, speaking kindly, lifting someone's burden when it becomes too heavy to carry alone. Imagine a candle. Its flame may be small, but it has the power to light another candle without losing its own brightness. In the same way, your service to others does not diminish you. On the contrary, it strengthens you because it affirms that your life has value beyond yourself. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, creates ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. Those ripples give your life a depth that self-centered pursuits can never provide. Service also transforms the way we perceive suffering. Everyone in this life carries difficulties, some visible, others hidden. When you turn inward only, your suffering can feel unbearable, because the self magnifies pain when it is all it sees. But when you turn outward and serve others, you begin to see that suffering is a shared human experience. In helping to ease another's burden, you find that your own becomes lighter. This is why service is not only a gift to others but also a healing practice for yourself. It teaches compassion, empathy, and humility. Compassion, because you feel the struggles of another. Empathy, because you understand that their pain is not separate from your own. Humility, because you realize that life is not about placing yourself above or ahead of others, but about walking side by side. Through service, suffering is not erased, but it is transformed into connection and strength. Ultimately, service gives depth, because it allows your life to be remembered not for what you took, but for what you gave. Think of the people you admire most, not because of their wealth, but because of their generosity, not because of their power, but because of their kindness. Service creates a legacy that outlives you, but more importantly, it gives meaning while you are still alive. When you know that your actions have lifted someone, encouraged someone, or brought peace to someone's heart, then you feel that your life matters. Service does not wait for perfect conditions. It can be practiced in every moment. Each time you choose to give rather than withhold, to support rather than ignore, to care rather than turn away, you are adding depth to your existence. In the end, it is not the length of life that defines its value, but the depth with which it was lived, and service to others is the path to that depth. So in the end, what is the meaning of life? It is not a secret waiting to be revealed by others. It is not a prize waiting for you at the end of the journey. It is the way you walk the path itself. Meaning is created when you live with awareness. It is deepened when you live with simplicity. It is strengthened when your daily actions align with discipline. It is revealed when you look beyond yourself and serve others. Do not wait for a distant answer. Do not search for life in some future moment. Life is already here, in this breath, in this step, in this choice. And if you can live each day with presence, with compassion, with discipline, then you will not need to ask, what is the meaning of life? Because your very life itself will become the answer.